Daemon quickly became a fan favorite in House of the Dragon Season 1, but by the end, Aemond had stolen the spotlight. Both Daemon and Aemond have a lot in common. They're second-born sons, younger brothers to the king, top-notch fighters, and ride the deadliest dragons around. Daemon rides Caraxes, a battle-hardened and deadly dragon, while Aemond rides Vhagar, the oldest and largest dragon. Both are charismatic yet wicked. Even their names are eerily similar. Just move the D in Daemon to the end, and you get Aemond. So in this video, we'll explore the top 10 similarities between these two awesome and entertaining characters. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Arrogance. Both Daemon and Aemond are suckers for defiance. Authority and control are things that they just cannot survive, let alone tolerate. They cannot stand being controlled. Daemon often considers himself the heir to the throne after Viserys, but knew full well that Viserys wanted Rhaenyra as the heir. You see, he just could not be trusted with authority. Anyway, Daemon went on to fight the Triarchy alongside Corlys to rid the Stepstones of the Triarchy's rule, and even declared himself king. Clearly, this did not sit well with the Red Keep, but Daemon didn't give two shits about it. Yep, he did return to court and offer Viserys his crown, but not before doing exactly what he wanted to. The king's small council didn't really take him seriously, and he wanted to prove that there was more to him than meets the eye. It was also Daemon's arrogance that partially made him take the life of his wife, but there were other factors at play too. And it should not be surprising to you that the rogue prince does not listen to anyone but himself. He didn't listen to his brother the king, or his wife the queen. Likewise, Aemond does little to show that he listens to anyone, maybe with the exception of Sir Criston Cole, who Aemond probably looks up to. Right from the start, Aemond has wanted things the way he wanted them. He went on to claim Vhagar, despite the fact that he was asked to go nowhere near the dragon. I mean, Aemond himself admits in the books that he was more afraid of getting caught than he was of a dragon as big as Vhagar. I will agree that Aemond has been more obedient than Daemon, but that's mostly because that's what he wants to do for now. If he had been given a chance to live long enough, he would have turned out to be worse than Daemon. Worse in the sense that he would have become more arrogant and free-willed, harder to control, much like his dragon. Wild and a little nuts. It's been made abundantly clear that both Daemon and Aemond have done things in the course of their lifetimes that would be considered wild. From slaughtering their kin to weird brothel habits, they defy what's normal, even by Westerosi standards. If you think about it, Aemond trying to snag Vhagar was a little nuts, given just how young he was and how big and deadly Vhagar was. And since the time around Aemond claimed Vhagar, he became more off. It's said that the dragon and its rider share a psychic bond, so maybe that's why and how things turned downhill for Aemond. On the other hand, Daemon has done some really nasty things. I mean, what was that about taking his young niece to a brothel and kissing her? He even made a crude joke at the expense of his infant nephew, who died shortly after birth. All these things signal toward the fact that Daemon doesn't really care to differentiate between right and wrong. They have no qualms about doing the awful. Aemond was responsible for the death of a 13-year-old Joffrey, and Daemon was responsible for the death of a 6-year-old Jaehaerys. These are the kind of war crimes that no one forgets or forgives you for. After a point in the Dance of Dragons, they stopped caring about how the war started and why they were fighting. However, these two incidents led to the exacerbation of the war. The deaths of these innocent children led to houses and their bannermen taking sides. I'm pretty sure both Aemond and Daemon knew the repercussions and the gravity of their actions, but went along with it anyway. Daemon also killed his wife in cold blood, while Aemond slaughtered people beyond count. He ordered the death of Simon Strong after taking Harrenhal, then went on to destroy the villages that still supported the Blacks. Daemon did no less. The blood that he had spilled across Westeros could not be wiped away by 1,000 handmaidens and more. Both ride the most ferocious dragons. Daemon rides Caraxes, and Aemond rides Vhagar. Caraxes is pretty much called the Bloodworm, and for good reason. It's definitely not just the color of his scales. You see, dragons were presumably created by Targaryens when they experimented with fireworms and wyverns. While most dragons have a majority of wyvern traits, it's kind of like the opposite for Caraxes, which is more fireworm than wyvern. That's the reason why Caraxes' fire burns hotter than other dragons, and also why he looks so serpentine. Just one look at him is enough to send the strongest of dragons and their riders fleeing. On the other hand, Vhagar is the oldest of all dragons. She's been there since the time of Aegon the Conqueror and Balerion the Black Dread, whose wings could overshadow entire towns. It's also a known fact that dragons never stop growing, and since Vhagar has existed for a long time, she continues to grow in size, which is why she's the largest dragon in the dance. According to many, Caraxes and Vhagar are the most powerful dragons, for different reasons of course. Even their friends think they're reckless, dangerous, and unpredictable. Aemond and Daemon are feared not just by their foes, but by their own people as well. I mean, Daemon pretty much assaulted Rhaenyra, and she is scared of him. She feels threatened by him, and could not help but feel that he would someday betray her. Likewise, Daemon is the most ferocious and unpredictable person in the Red Keep. People fear him more than Aegon II, who's supposed to be the king. Once again, the only person Aemond pays some heed to is Criston Cole, probably because Cole trained him as a child, and also mildly brainwashed him into hating Rhaenyra and her children. I don't think I need to explain how reckless these two are. Think about it. Daemon left Rhaenyra's side to hunt Aemond and his dragon. Yes, that was a pretty important thing to do, but Rhaenyra needed him by her side since he was the most able general she had. Aemond too did a few things that hurt the Greens badly. The most crucial one of these was losing his own life fighting Daemon. Both of them want the crown. Daemon has always wanted the crown, like since forever. He's always wanted to be named the heir to the throne, and when he could not become the king of the Seven Kingdoms, he found himself a whole new region to rule. Hell, he even sat on the Iron Throne, an act that amounts to high treason. Many, like Otto Hightower, believe that if Rhaenyra ever sat on the ugly iron chair with Daemon by her side as the king consort, it would actually be Daemon ruling the land and not Aemond. Otto went on to say that Daemon's rule would be worse than the rule of Maegor the Cruel. Similarly, Aemond also wants the throne, but he's just honorable enough not to cross his brother, Aegon. That doesn't mean he wouldn't grab the opportunity to sit on the Iron Throne if everything else favored him. He also knows that he's worthier than Aegon. Well, Aegon didn't wish to be king in the first place, he just wanted to live his life and chill with wine and women. They both think that their elder brothers are unworthy kings, but lend their support anyway. Well, Daemon and Aemond have always believed that Viserys and Aegon are weak humans and weaker kings. That explains their need to often defy the rules and orders, often marking their own path and following their own decisions. And somewhere along the line, one has to admit that they were not entirely wrong. I, for one, hardly see many abilities in either Viserys and Aegon that would make for a great king. Nevertheless, despite their low opinion of the elder brothers, both Daemon and Aemond supported and defended their respective brothers. They did want the throne for themselves, but never challenged their brothers for it. I think Aemond would have had a great chance of getting himself the throne if he fought for it. It wouldn't have taken people long to realize that he would make a stronger king than Aegon. But then again, that's just my opinion, and I may be wrong. What do you think? Both are exceptional fighters, dragon riders, and commanders. Without a doubt, both Daemon and Aemond are great at all things war and dragons. They know how to change the tide of war. I mean, both these men pretty much carried their sides on their shoulders through the entirety of the war. There came many occasions when Aemond and Daemon's quick thinking saved their respective sides many casualties. Often, they garnered support from other houses for their cause. As you'll see in the future episodes of House of the Dragon, Aemond would become a major player as far as the decision-making is concerned. He would also change the course of the Battle of Rook's Rest, while delivering a major blow to Team Black by annihilating the Queen who never was and her dragon. Both of them have a thing for low-born bastard women. In the books, Aemond shares his bed with Alice Rivers, a woman who's later revealed to be a witch. In fact, she claims that she is with Aemond's child. On the other hand, Daemon starts spending a lot of time with a dragon seed named Nettles. Accounts differ. Some believe Daemon and Nettles shared a sexual relationship, and that Daemon even fell for her. And this made Rhaenyra so furious that she sent orders to have Nettles killed. And knowing Daemon, Rhaenyra had all the reasons to doubt her lord husband. Later in the book, Alice begins to have a profound influence on Aemond, who already seems to have a bit of mommy issues. It was believed that Alice was so old that she fed some of the older members of House Strong. Both of them died a magnificent death. On the 22nd day of the 5th moon of the year 130 AC, while Daemon was still present in Harrenhal, Aemond presented himself atop Vhagar with a pregnant Alice with him. Alice remained on the ground while Daemon and Aemond took flight on Caraxes and Vhagar. The two dragons and their dragon riders fought tooth and nail with fire and blood. In the end, Daemon leapt from his dragon and struck his Valyrian steel sword into Aemond's blind eye. The dragons fell into the water a few moments later. Years later, the carcass of Vhagar and the corpse of Aemond were found, but Daemon's body was never found. However, it's believed that he died in battle. I just hope that the makers don't mess up this battle, which is formally called the Battle Above God's Eye. Marvelous verdict. Beyond their surface similarities, Daemon and Aemond share deep internal conflicts. Daemon's impulsive behavior is driven by his need for love and validation from his brother Viserys. His desire for praise often causes him to lose focus, as seen in the fight against Criston Cole. This need for validation is a recurring theme for Daemon, leading him to steal a dragon egg, nearly throw away his life in battle, and refuse to repair his relationship with Viserys. On the flip side, Aemond's insecurity about his Targaryen heritage and lack of a dragon led him to impulsively claim Vhagar, costing him an eye. He then dedicated himself to becoming a fierce warrior so that he would never feel weak again. Even as an adult, Aemond struggles with self-control, instigates conflict conflicts and loses his composure, as seen in the family dinner in episode 8, and his demand for Lucerys to cut out his eye in episode 10. His lack of control mirrors his dragon Vhagar's disobedience, which results in Lucerys' death. Daemon and Aemond mirror each other, and this dynamic serves the story. Aemond molds himself after Daemon and shows both resentment and admiration. Their similarities hint at Daemon's potential character arc. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone!